long time no honey jam.
It's been a long time.
Wait, Janice,
Yeah,
you look so pretty right now.
dude, the eyelashes really make a huge difference.
Dang. You got them done in Korea?
Yep. In America, in
Oh.
in LA, if you get them done eyelashes,
Uh-huh.
I have to pay like $100 easily,
Yes.
easily $100, and then on top of that, you put tip in.
Yes.
So $110,
That's the standard.
$15. It's the
Yeah.
standard. In Korea, I was like, I'll just look into the prices since I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
It was 55,000원, 55,000 won, which converted with the current exchange rate to $38. Can you believe that? So I was like, this is a steal. I have to do it.
You have to.
And that was the most expensive one too, 55,000 won. I was like, I'll take the most expensive one on the menu, ma'am. And then there's no tipping culture in Korea.
So you don't even have to tip. It's
Nope.
just $38
Yeah,
flat.
I googled my credit card and I got the notification on my Amex app, $38.
Wow.
So
I'm like jealous because honestly, I don't get my lashes done often because it's so expensive.
Yeah, it's so expensive.
And like it honestly falls out. Like for me, I feel very taptape. Like I can't stand that feeling of not washing my eyes.
Yeah.
So like I be careful for maybe like 3-4 days. If
and
I'm good. And then after that, I'm like, all right, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And then it goes away like in a week and a half or two. And then if you're good about it, you have to refill. This is such girl talk, but it's expensive stuff to maintain good lashes.
If you maintain them well, it can last to about like a month, which I'm trying. Yeah, this is week 2 now, and some of these lashes are really hanging on for dear life.
Yeah.
But
that's nice. And the quality is nice.
Yeah, and can we talk about actually how a few weeks ago when David posted a video on his Instagram, this has happened a few times in the past, but someone asked, genuinely curious, but is that a woman or a man?
Wait, why do people, you know what it is, Janice? I think it's because
your
lashes. Voice. What?
It was the lashes.
Oh, I was going to say something else.
The lack of lashes. And perhaps my deep voice.
It's because sometimes when you troll and when you try to be funny, you like, talk in a bro-y way and you're like, you let out your deep voice.
Okay.
Which, by the way, that reminds me of when we went to Italy. This was in 2015.
When we were studying abroad before our study abroad program, we went to Italy for a week to visit your cousin. It is our senior year, 2014.
2014, yes. So it was summer of 2014, right before we started our summer year.
Yes.
We went to this kind of tangent, but I will promise I'll bring it back. We went to Italy before we went on our travel study program. Yeah. In Germany because my cousins were there and we also wanted to just like explore Italy. So we visited some cities. The first city we went to was Milan because my cousin on my mom's side married an Italian man.
Yeah, just
2 beautiful children.
Italian ajashi.
Yes, full on Italian ajashi in finance who works in finance in Italy.
Yeah.
And they were so gracious and hospitable and they let us stay at their home in Milan. So it was really cool because we got to like, kind of like live like a local, not as a tourist. And we got to experience like, what a family in Milan goes through.
Yeah, and I feel like usually like tourists, they visit like, Rome or like Venice, but not really Milan. I guess, it's like fashion capital.
Like shopping, yeah.
But still, it was cool.
Still,
it was unique.
Yeah. So it was really nice. We got to stay with them. But anyways, like we got to spend time with the kids and like my hyungbu, the Italian man, he was very like fascinated by us because like us two, we're like Honey Jam MCs. Like we're like very just we're lively. Different. We're Korean American. We're lively. Like we're not like Korean women that he's probably seen like, through his wife.
Right.
And like I think he was just like very fascinated by us. But then in the morning, I think like Janice was like trolling and like she let out like a really manly opera voice.
Because it was in the morning.
What you were doing.
In the morning.
Yes, and so your voice was even huskier and like very deep.
Yeah. And I used to like to troll people with my morning voice. I actually still do this to this day if we have like sleepovers. I'll like scare people and I was like, hey, Hey, hey,
But
pretty lady.
it gets deep. Like Janice's morning trolling deep voice.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, she was trolling my nephew Emilio, and our 형부 Carlo happened to hear it. Carlo 형부.
Yeah.
And then what did he say? It was like, "Is that the man?
Is that the man?
Is that the man who's in our house? Is that the man?"
In his
He like
Italian accent.
legit did not know like
Yeah.
who it was. We're like dying from laughter because we're like, that was Janice. He's like, I cannot believe it. He's like, what? How did you produce that type of voice? But we have really fond memories of our time there.
Yeah.
Another quick story in Milan.
Mm-hmm.
My 형부, I don't know exactly what he did. We're so young, so we had like no idea. But I think
He was
he
a
was like
powerful man. That's all I know.
it's not a power.
It was
like,
a
not to
powerful
undermine
man.
his power and success, but
Dude, come
he like
on.
he was like the head of like a finance, I don't know,
Firm.
like, firm. Yeah, exactly. And he was like, he was a boss there.
Yeah.
And then I guess he wanted to kind of like flex in front of us, so he invited us to his firm.
Yeah.
And we went, and like, how old are we? We're like 20.
Yeah, we're like 20 years old, never had a job.
21. Yeah, we never had a job. We're like just there, like, we have no idea what we're doing.
Enjoying Europe. Didn't think that we would walk into this firm where people would bow down to. No, just not bow down, but it was pretty
that was
much
kind of like the 분위기.
Yeah.
We went in, and they were like, it's like a VIP tour of the company kind of vibes,
Yeah.
And we're just like, hola. Like, it's not even hola. Okay, that's another thing I did in Italy.
Dude.
It's not hola. What do you say for hello?
It's just like,
buongiorno,
ciao, or buongiorno.
But
Jess kept saying hola because she went to missions to Nicaragua, and she kept saying hola to her niece and nephew. I'm like, Jess, did you say hola, dude? We're to Italy.
I'm dying.
Italian and
saying,
Spanish.
Hola. Like,
oh
so
my gosh.
so 무식해. But anyways,
so
we're just like super nervous, like, hey.
No, yeah. And then we walked in, and then there's like a meeting full of people, and then your 형부 comes in, is like, and we're like, hi. And everyone's so nice. They stopped their meeting to say hello to us, to your 형부's guests.
And it was really funny because he only like made the men of his company like stand up and like shake our hands.
Oh my gosh.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He's like,
that was funny.
And it was just like there were women employees too.
Yeah.
But like he made all the men of the firm like shake hands with us. And they were like tall, like handsome Italian men.
Yeah.
Buongiorno. Hola.
These are good times.
Yeah.
It was such a cool experience.
Yeah, Europe was. We have many more stories about Germany and Italy, but we'll end it there. We'll keep it in our pockets for now.
All of that to say is, I don't look like a man anymore. And thank you. Maybe it is the voice, but I'm pretty sure it's just the way I look without my lash extensions. So hopefully, these lashes will last very long, and I will stop getting those questions.
Honestly, it's like so obvious, so I don't know why people ask that. Like, it's almost ridiculous. Like, it's just to troll you, I feel like, right?
I think that's what offends me more. It's that they're seriously wondering, and they seriously cannot tell.
I'm
it's
confused.
Fine. Maybe I give androgynous vibes sometimes. I should act more like a lady. But
I will say, Josh and I we finished a Korean drama with Chu Ji-un. It's like Trauma Center.
Trauma Code.
Trauma Code, like that drama where he's a doctor. Like
emergency doctor.
Emergency surgeon doctor.
Emergency.
He's very emotional in it. But the nurse, who is like a co-star,
don't you dare.
She kind of looks like Shin Se-kyung.
Okay.
She looks like Shin Se-kyung to me.
All right.
But Josh started the first episode and he's like, dude, in this drama, there is a girl who looks exactly like Janice.
No. Stop it.
And then I look and she's so pretty. She looks like Shin Se-kyung. I was like, oh, I see it a little bit, Janice, but she reminds me more of Shin Se-kyung. And what's crazier is Josh has said that you look like Shin Se-kyung before.
Yeah. I was shocked when Josh told me that. I was like, Josh, what do you want from me? Shin Se-kyung? I've never heard Shin Se-kyung before. For those of you who don't know who Shin Se-kyung is, she's like a, like kind of a OG actress. She's still young,
Yeah, she's
but
super pretty.
okay, I don't look anything like Shin Se-kyung.
No, I see it. I see it. Like it's like your like face shape and your nose, your pretty nose.
Well, anyways, thank you. Thank you, Josh. I don't get many compliments from Josh because he is a troll, but thank you,
Yes.
Josh.
Yeah.
So we're back. It's been a very long time since it's been me and Jess. Shout out to our substitute co-host David, who kind
The
of
best.
filled Jess's role while we were out there in Korea. It was
Thank
a
you,
little
David.
tough. It was a little tough to 생각보다 tough to match times. I will
oh
say
yes, yeah.
I was a little bit lazy
Me
about
too.
matching the time, even
I
though I
think
gave
we
Jess an
tried to
assignment.
like last week or 2 weeks ago. You're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
hey, we're gonna do this right at this time. Yes, and then we just completely forgot about it and didn't do it.
I gave Jess an assignment. I was like, Jess, we are gonna do a breakdown of Singles Inferno episodes 1 through 3. So you better watch those episodes, and we're gonna talk about it next week.
Yeah.
I failed to reach out,
Mm-hmm.
but
No,
Jess,
I failed to reach out too. I forgot.
Jess, on the other hand, being the dedicated, studious person that she is, she, dedicated her time to
I
watch those
did.
episodes, binge
Honestly,
them.
the first like the intro, I was like, I really don't want to watch this for Singles Inferno
Yeah,
because they all look the same to me. It's
yeah,
just the same thing over and over
yeah.
every season. Kind of like what you and David mentioned. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, dude, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
I was like, do I really have to watch this? But I stuck to it, and now I'm hooked. So I'm
you're.
dedicated to
Mm-hmm.
it. And then I watched all 4 episodes so that I can debrief with Janice. Continue.
Oh, and then Jess
Continue.
said she compared it to. So then I didn't reach out, and then
Mm-hmm.
what happened was David and I just filmed an episode like super last minute,
Uh-huh.
and I just uploaded it like barely any edits. I was just like, I'm
Yeah.
uploading this, and
Yes.
then Jess told me it felt like she was studying for a midterm, and then it got canceled. So I said, I'm so sorry.
No. That was a great episode. But
Uh-huh.
when the title was like Singles Inferno
Yeah.
Debriefing 1 through 4, I was like, what the? What the heck? I thought we were gonna do it.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Gosh.
In the
I was
end,
like, but I'm happy I had a break. So thank you, David. It's
yeah.
like it's that feeling where I feel like it is very congruent to that midterm
Uh-huh.
example because it's like what the I studied for it and then but low key you're also kind of happy like okay,
Yeah.
all right
Well, win-win.
yeah win-win situation
But we're back. We're back
back,
on a
baby.
weekly cadence. Hopefully until, baby pops out.
Yes.
Until then, you'll see us weekly. And since it's been a while, I actually threw out a question out to our followers
yes, I
on
did see that.
Instagram. Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
curious,
Uh-huh.
if anyone had questions for us since it's been a long time.
Did we get anything?
You know what? We actually got a handful. I was quite shocked.
Wow.
Yeah, I was shocked because I was like, oh, it's so last minute.
Yeah.
908 people saw the story.
Okay.
Very good. And then we got a couple. Okay, so I will read just icebreaker a little bit, a warm up.
Okay.
Danielle Ju. Can we talk enough to be a guest?
No.
I would like to see him
Next
just be
question.
like, Janice Imo. He knows who I am.
He is talking a lot more.
Yeah.
He's forming phrases and sentences, and he is becoming a human of his own.
Mm-hmm.
The mind of his own. Yes, he has his opinions, he has his preferences, and he makes it clear.
Yeah.
So he can communicate his wants and needs.
Mm-hmm.
To be a guest on this show, though, no. Heck no.
He
this
seems
is
like
my
he's-
time.
He seems like he's becoming more extroverted a little bit.
He is, yeah. No, so I feel like, like he's always been shy and like,
Yeah.
mama's boy. I
Yeah.
actually talked about this with my mom today, but I told her I was getting a little sad because like when I go out now, he has always been kind of like interested in only me
Mhm.
or like in like girl babies
Mm-mm.
and like just like doing his own thing.
Yeah.
But now he like wants to hang with like hyungs and like
Aww.
boys.
Because you guys go to a lot of like big kids parties sometimes too, right? They invite
Yeah,
you
big
guys.
kids party and like churches. So like at church when he sees like the hyungs like
Mhm.
running and like playing with sticks and like in the mud, he like joins them and like
Aw.
today the Hong boys Miles and Evan, they were
Mhm.
riding a scooter with their helmets and he was
Shout
like,
out.
I want a scooter and helmet. So
Oh.
Josh had to get it from the garage and he was like, pretending like he's good at scooter when he's not, and he was like trying to catch up to them and stuff. And I'm just like, that made me sad. Like him, like it also made me proud, but like kind of like sad because I'm like, oh, he's not a baby anymore.
Yeah, he's growing up so quickly.
He's growing up, and like I guess that's developmental, like wanting to fit in and like
Yeah.
all of that.
I can't believe it.
I know, like it's such a weird thing, right?
Yeah.
Like it's such a like a kid thing to do, to want to like hang with peers and like fit
Mom,
in.
I'm gonna hang out with the hyungas.
Yeah, because before
Aw.
he would just always like stick to me.
Uh-huh.
But the fact that he was like just going off on his own, like
Yeah.
doing his own thing and
Yeah.
like like having his boy interest and like fireman stuff and
Yeah.
all of that.
He's a dude's dude.
He's definitely
growing.
a boy.
He's growing quickly.
Thank you for that question, Danielle.
Danielle also asked, who would be your dream sponsor? That's a great question for this podcast. If it could be anybody. I don't know why, for me, immediately I thought Lululemon, just because Lululemon is really nice and expensive. But any dream sponsor that you would like?
What makes like a podcast legit? Like what kind of sponsor?
Today's episode is sponsored
MailChimp.
by
something good. That makes us sound like super legit.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Okay. This is what I actually originally thought her question was, but she also asked, if you could invite any guest, who would it be besides Pyeonwoo-seok?
Wow. By the way, guys, hold on.
I don't know if you could tell by my background too.
I'm hijacking this question with Pyeonwoo-seok, even though she says besides. Thank you, Janice. Thank you, Mire 언니, for... Oh, it's different.
Yeah, I chose this one. So for those of you who aren't watching right now, I picked these magazines up from our good friend 언니, Mire 언니, who is also a fellow Pyeonwoo-seok fan in Korea. Brought these magazines, lugged them in my carrier, and brought the precious cargo over and gave one magazine to Jess.
Yeah.
We chose our covers in advance. But I gave it to her yesterday, and I did not know that she would actually be that happy about it, but she was very, very pleased.
Dude, it's because every photo of him looks so good. And then we had like a kind of extended discussion on like if David and Harris would pose like him in questionable poses if they were paid like $200 or $2,000. And specifically for this pose.
So he's kind of like crouched down, right?
Yeah, like a cat almost.
Like a cat, yeah. It could look a little feminine.
It does, yeah. But I mean, he looks good. And it does look a little femme and kind of cutesy. So David said he would do it for $2,000, I think, right?
Which is actually quite low. I was surprised. Wait, was it $2,000? I feel like it might have been higher. Maybe it was like 10K.
Actually, I think he said he wouldn't do it. I can't remember. But anyways, David was like, hell no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And then Dan was like, dude, she was shocked at even 200 that he wouldn't do it for $200 as his Instagram post. Yeah. And David was like, dude, what the heck? Okay, then let's all pitch in for $200 and you post it, Dan. You pose like him. And Dan was like, oh, I didn't know the combo would turn on me like this.
I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, but anyways, thank you for this.
Dream guest
besides Pyeonwoo-seok.
Honestly though, I always like say like, you know, dream guests would be awesome to have and stuff like that. But if Pyeonwoo-seok were actually to come on this podcast, I would freak out. Like I wouldn't want him on a podcast.
That reminds me, you almost had an opportunity to interview Kang Daniel. Your peak.
Yeah, my past flame.
Yes, and we were all very excited for you. But we were also saying like that might have been like the zenith, the peak of
Exactly.
your love for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes, celebrities, you have to enjoy watching them from a distance. If you get too close, it shatters that fantasy,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
But
Oh,
if
we
I
were
get
talking about this too
uh-huh,
yesterday.
uh-huh.
Spake said she was obsessed with 17,
Yep.
but once she went to the concert and saw them up close, she said her love dwindled a little bit after
Yeah.
that
I
for
know
some
exactly how that
reason.
feels. Yeah. It's like
Really?
you just know, you see them, you're like, oh, they're human. And just like, Jess, we talked about this too.
Yeah.
Back in the day when we worked in entertainment, you
Yes.
also had many opportunities to get real close to celebrities
That's right.
like BTS.
Mm-hmm.
And then after you're like, oh, these are just
Oh, they're just
kids
yeah,
that know how
they're
to
just
dance.
kiddos.
Yeah.
Talented kiddos.
Very
Great.
talented.
But they are
Um,
very talented, yes.
yeah. So
I don't know, dream guest? Wait, this reminds me of Jojo, the dream guest on my podcast. Do you know what I'm talking
yeah,
about?
I know what you're talking about. Jojo Siwa, dream
Jojo Siwa.
guest.
Dream guest.
Um,
I would have
let's make
to
it
say
crazy. My ex-girlfriend.
my ex. That's my
Dream guest.
answer.
Yeah, our exes can come onto the podcast.
Dude, that does sound kind of spicy.
You know what? I actually think that would be fun.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. Some comments. I also threw it out and said, even if you don't have a question, some encouragements. Someone said, as an introvert / workaholic, you guys make my long drives feel like accompanied by friends. A lot of people say that actually. A lot of people say that when they listen to our podcast. I think I talked about this before. They feel like they're eavesdropping on just like the conversation that friends are having.
Yeah. I love it.
Someone said, college can be so hard, but listening to Honey Jam while walking to school brings me joy. College. The majority of our audience is, like late 20s, 29 to like early 30s, and like moms and, married people. So I was actually very pleased to see this because I want to reach out to college kids more.
And we kind of talk about like R-rated stuff, so I'm sorry.
I know, right? Like if we were college students hearing ourselves talk, I think we would be shocked. We would be.
Like, what are these ajumas saying, dude? Well, thank you so much for listening.
I know.
And
so
enjoying.
Yeah.
And like recently AOK, shout out AOK, she was telling me that she met her husband's like church friends, like she hung out with them, I think. And they didn't even know that AOK knew us.
Oh.
Like they started talking about Honey Jam that they listen.
Oh,
and
wow.
And AOK was like, oh, those are my friends. Like, I know them. And she was like telling me this past Sunday. I was like, dang, that's crazy that like, people who we don't know.
Yeah.
And, they don't know us. They just happen to listen to Honey Jam. Like, they happen to find us through our reels.
Yep.
And yeah.
We
appreciate all of our listeners.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of like silent listeners, like ninja listeners that we don't know personally. So it's very like 감동 when I hear that like there are people. And then actually that reminds me, we got a couple of messages too while I was in Korea, and I screenshot them and I was sending them to Jess. But I actually I want to bring some of them up because like some of them are so encouraging.
So encouraging.
Someone said, hi, Janice and Jess, Honey Jam fan here. Just want to take a minute and let you know how big of a fan I am of the pod. I used to listen to Asian Boss Girl podcast, which is huge. But I found myself often thinking, I love them, but I wish they were Christian. Conversations and perspectives are just different as Christian, So I went on a hunt to find a podcast by Christian Asian women and only found ones that were kind of boring, TBH. Because, we bring the spice. Yeah, we're Christian, but we know how to bring the spice. I love what you two bring to the table. Authenticity, humor, faith, girl talk, wife, mom talk, K-drama, K-pop, Konglish, vulnerability, and so much more that is incredibly relatable. I'm so glad that I found your podcast this year. I found it a bit late, but literally binged it all in like 3 months. Lol. Anyway, I've been meaning to send a love letter earlier, but just listened to your latest episode and thought what better time than to start this new year. So yeah, thank you, Deborah Hong. Someone we don't know at all.
Thank you, Deborah. That's so encouraging.
So this is all very intentional because, Jess is back and I really wanted her to feel the love once again.
You're so smart, Janice.
Someone said, how's your pregnancy been, Jess?
Aww.
Someone asked. Her name is, we don't know this person either.
Wow.
Joanna Ak.
Wow. Thank you
Joanna.
for asking, Joanna. You know, it's been a lot better. I'm 22 weeks now
Mm-hmm.
at the time of this recording.
Yep.
So I'm halfway through my pregnancy, and I think I shared a bit that first trimester was really tough because I had really bad morning sickness.
Mm-hmm.
But thankfully, I'm a lot better. You know, I'm not nauseous anymore. And I feel a little bit more energetic. I feel a little bit more like myself. But at the same time, too, it's a little bit like it's very different from my first time, I have to say, because I remember like with Hui, second trimester, like I felt so good. I was like eating so well, and like I don't know, I just wanted to do everything and like meet everyone because I knew like this was kind of like my last hurrah before I became a mom. But this time around, I feel heavier. Like I already feel like I'm like in my third trimester.
Wow.
Yeah. And like Janice saw me yesterday and she's like, what the heck happened, you know?
Yeah, because it was my first time seeing Jess after our 3-month trip in Korea.
Yeah.
And literally, I've only seen you in this window.
Yeah.
So I was shocked to see your stomach be so big.
Yes.
But at the same time, like, you didn't look that huge. Like, you still look so normal on top.
Yeah, but I'm like starting to pop. And like, it's been, it's just, I think because maybe this is like my second time around, it just feels like more difficult in some ways.
Of course.
Yeah. But at the same time, also, like, I feel a little bit, I shared about this, I feel less anxious about it. So in that way, I feel very like relaxed.
Yeah.
But thank you for asking.
I was impressed actually. Last night we hung out with our friends and Jess stayed strong until 10 p.m. I was waiting for her to be like, all right, guys, I'm tapping out at like 9:30.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we did hang out at 10, but at that point I was tired too. So I was like, okay, baby mama wants to play. So
I had a fat nap that day, so
that's right.
Hang. Yeah.
Okay, we actually got 2 people asked this question. Annie Hongster and Omma Nora, who we will have on the podcast soon.
Amazing.
They both asked, what are your MBTIs?
Oh!
And what is an MBTI for people who don't know?
Myers-Briggs.
That's right.
Myers-Briggs?
Myers-Briggs. It became a very big thing in Korea, which is crazy.
They're
because
kind of late, like 10 years late.
Yeah, because we talked about all of this stuff in college.
Yes,
Myers-Briggs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's
So,
Myers-Briggs.
Myers-
it's like a personality test.
Yeah.
Where, you know, I feel like everybody knows.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So what are you?
I am ESFJ, the classic Asian girl Myers-Briggs personality.
ESFJ.
Yeah.
I am an ENFP.
Yes.
You're a J, Jess?
Yes.
Oh.
I mean, I don't think I'm a power J.
Uh-huh.
But I do like, I mean, you know me, like once I kind of put my mind on something, like I usually am very kind of like structured and rigid, and I plan for it. And if something like falls out of plan, I feel pretty nervous about it. So that's kind of how I am. Yeah.
I realize I'm a power P. Like I'm really, well, obviously when it comes to work, I will be organized and like try to think ahead. But when it comes to like my personal life or like traveling, maybe it's because I depend on David so much.
Yeah.
I became even more of a P.
I see.
And like normally David's a P, but he became more of a J,
like a J
because someone has to do it. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just got distracted because my cousin just messaged me on Katuk. This is a sidetrack.
The one you talked about last episode?
Yeah. The my girl cousin.
Yes.
She said, 언니 미국 잘 갔어? Like, did you go to America well? 이번에 못 봐서 너무 mi안해.
That's crazy because you were there for 3 months and she has not seen you even once.
The audacity.
Wow.
And it turns out the day we left, she actually went to go see my grandparents. It's like she avoided me on purpose.
Wow.
You know what? I'm not gonna talk to you.
Well, you know what though? After listening to that episode, I understand her because you freaking ratted her out, dude. She specifically told you not to tell. And you said, 할머니, 할아버지, guess what?
It's a mystery. It's a mystery why she doesn't want to meet me.
What do you mean?
Right. Next
your
question.
audacity.
I refuse.
You have that kind of conde in you, Janice.
I do. It's
right?
like, your elder is here. Come say hello.
conde.
Elder as in
Yeah.
1 year older. I'm only 1 year older than her. Jimin from Oma Nora also asked us, how did you guys meet? We talked about this on an earlier episode, so Jimin, please feel free to check out our early episodes.
Thank you for the question though.
Yes,
and
thank you so
I
much.
am a big fan.
Yes.
Big fan. I received what is it called?
Super band.
And I'm so excited to use it because
Yeah,
I
we
have
will
a lot
have
of kind
scars.
of scars on my wrists. Yeah.
We'll have Jimin and Jihye on the podcast once again.
Yes, very soon.
Someone said, Jane Jung, what are your funniest memories together? I feel like we have so many funny memories where we're just like cracking up, but I just can't like put my finger on it.
The funniest memories?
Yeah, funniest memories that we haven't shared on the pod yet.
Dang. I don't know. We definitely shared a lot. Like, did we share about that time when like we got into a fight while we were going to LA Fitness? We did, right?
Oh, we did. That was funny.
That was like a funny moment too.
Yeah.
When we were like, sorry. After. And then our Germany fight. Our fights are pretty funny.
Oh, someone asked like if you guys ever fought before.
Yes, if you listen to our previous episodes, I think there was one episode where we talked about like our 2 fights, and they're really, really funny. So please tune in on those episodes.
Yeah. Dishim says, Jess, did you feel threatened at all during your hiatus? Like when you were gone and then David took over.
What a cutting question. Truly like Shim. He's in a newborn fog, like darkness. Oh
yeah,
so
shout out
probably
to
came
Shim.
out of that, just that darkness and himdom, that struggle.
Like being away from friends.
No,
and stuff.
you know what? I actually really appreciated it because it gave me a good break. And I also liked hearing about life in Korea. We got to meet like guests from Korea, like Jay and Jimin 언니. So that was really nice to see. Chie 언니. And yeah, I think like David's and Janice's dynamic is like super funny. And it's like really funny how like David like lets everything out on the pod, like his venting.
Unleashes it.
He unleashes it. So I think that was really like funny to see. And also like your journey, like your updates on your,
IVF
fertility,
stuff.
IVF journey.
Yeah. I will say like I went to church for the first time on Sunday ever since we got back, right? Sorry, I cut you off. What were you saying, Jess?
No, that's it.
Oh.
I was saying I appreciated the break and also just hearing from you guys in Korea. Yeah.
So then when we went to church, obviously like people who listen to the podcast know like why we were there. So like some people were like, oh, like fighting, like, oh, Jess, like, I'm praying for you, and like very encouraging things. Yeah. So I was like, oh, it's funny how like people like know, even though I didn't say it, like tell them directly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's kind of because David was like, oh, how do you feel about that? Like if people are coming to you and like they all know or like are asking questions. And I was like, I think it's actually kind of great because then I don't have to repeat the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
And then I actually like took footage in the hospital so I could make a reel. Like I gotta make something out of it,
Wow.
So hopefully, we make those reels, they'll go viral, and then my job is done.
Content monster.
But I was like, if anyone asks, if anyone's like, oh, like how's your IVF journey? I'm like, oh, check out my reels. It goes into details. So yeah.
Chie kind of touched upon this, but like when her daughter was going through all that, sorry, Jimin, her best friend, Jimin encouraged her to make a reel. Right?
Yeah.
And then she said it helped her like kind of process those emotions and like look back on it with like gratitude and also just like, she was able to just like process everything that happened.
Right.
And I was like, wow, like this is when like social media can be used for good. Because we like sometimes like there is that like debate, like we're oversharing and all of that. But that made me think like, okay, it is a powerful tool where we're like kind of capturing our memories and cherishing those moments and like really like using it as a tool to like help us like process things and just remember like the good times and the bad,
looking back on everything.
So I think it's great that you are making a reel, and I'm looking forward to it. And also, a lot of people like check in with me too. Like people who are like more close to me than you, they go like, "Hey, like how is Janice doing?" And like, I think that's so sweet too, because like because you shared and you guys are so vulnerable, like there are people invested, you know, in your journey and like rooting for you guys, and
Yeah.
I love that, you know.
Aw, thanks, Jess. Thanks everyone for checking in.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But okay, by the way though, can you give us kind of like a check-in, like what's gonna happen?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm back, but then I
Yes.
actually have to go back to Korea because we have two embryos
Yes.
being frozen right now. They are frozen.
All right.
And now I just have to put them back into my body,
Yeah.
into my bodice.
Uh-huh.
And I can go back anytime, but I think
Sure.
we want to go back just like as soon as possible, just to get it over with.
Right.
And then, once you what is it called? Implant it. I call it the implantation incantation. Once it's so stupid. It has nothing to do with it. But I just like the rhyme. Once the implantation incantation happens, we have to put one at a time. So technically you could put both in and like possibly get twins. But apparently, I don't know, it's like higher chance of just doing one at a time. And so I put one in.
And you have two.
I have two. I only have two precious embryos. Put one in, wait 9 days, do a pregnancy test. If it fails, then we're going to wait 1 more month until my next period, and ovulation, and then put the second one in, and then wait 9 days and then find the result. And then, I'll come home either pregnant or not. So we'll see what happens.
Right.
But right now I think my expectations, I'm trying to, not have such high expectations, because like for me, in my case, like the IVF doesn't increase my chances of getting pregnant like that much actually. So I think this whole thing is just for me to try like every method possible before just
every option
before just resorting back to just all natural, and then hoping if we get pregnant we get pregnant. If not, we don't. So yeah, I think right now like I'm in a place where I feel very like just calm. Yeah. I haven't like really cried or like been emotional about it lately, because I haven't really been thinking about it actually. A lot of people are just like, a lot of people say like, don't stress, just have fun, have lots of sex just cause. Like, don't look at the ovulation calendar. And I've heard that a few times, and it was hard for me at first, because that's all I was thinking about, especially before honey jam and stuff. But because honey jam has been keeping me busy, I've been enjoying life in Korea. Like, I actually haven't been thinking about it. And actually, yeah, like TMI, but David and I have been having just because sex. And it's great.
Just been banging?
Yeah, it's kind of great.
Are you gonna put this in?
Oh, absolutely. A healthy marriage. Signs of a healthy marriage.
Wow.
But that's why.
I feel very like hot
flustered.
Right now. Flustered, yeah.
And I remember one thing that Pastor Tom, Jess's pastor. Oh shoot. Oh. Toothpaste. 작은 거 있는데? 있어.
When you live with parents and you have a podcast.
Where was I?
I don't like how we're talking about sex and then you move to, I don't know, Pastor Tom.
Oh yeah. Pastor Tom always said, like, 3 things that you have to stay connected, like in a healthy way in marriage, is your sex life, your spiritual life, and your was it?
Why did you forget?
What was it? Oh my gosh. Emotional, spiritual, and physical. It makes sense.
I love how you said the sex first.
But they're all equal.
Yes. Yeah. What, like, you can't have one.
Right. Exactly.
Excel. You gotta have all 3 and like check in all 3 arenas.
Yeah. And like, again, these are one of the things that I think, as college kids, if we heard, we would be shocked.
Yeah.
Like, sex, ew. But it really is important.
You know what's funny? And this might be also getting like a little TMI, but like when you're in college and you're dating, like that's all you think about.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, like sexual sin.
I mean, we used to call it like the dirty, like Jess.
The dirty,
Did
the
you
shady.
do the dirty?
Did you do the shady,
Yeah, the shady.
Yeah, and it's like of course it is very tempting, and it is like a huge, I guess like obstacle and
Mhm.
struggle that you might go through like in your dating relationship, because it is like God does call us to be pure,
Mhm.
right? But yeah, I was just shocked because after I got married, it is literally sex is literally, of
Yeah.
course it's important,
You're right.
but it is like the least important thing
Yeah.
in not important. Okay, how do I
It's just not on your mind as much as it was.
yes, it's like, whereas before it was like the only thing on your mind, like
Yeah.
how do I avoid this, like how can I, like, like stay strong, like blah, 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 like oh my god, but then I'm so excited.
Yeah.
But now it's like, okay, you wanna go tonight?
It's
Nah,
so
all right.
accessible.
Very accessible, important, and a huge part of marriage,
Mhm.
but it's not everything.
Mm.
So that's where I kind of felt like, wow,
Yeah.
like marriage is so much more, and that's what
Mhm.
makes marriage like so much more beautiful,
Yeah.
like it's all things.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
will say I was a little disappointed when Jess told me that once she got married first,
Yes.
because I was
Yeah,
really
I did
looking
tell her
forward to
that.
it.
Yes, Janice was like, so how is it? I'm like, I mean, it's great, but I'm shocked, Janice, because like that is literally like, you know
Yeah.
just one part of it all. And she's like, okay, so how was it? Like, she doesn't care.
Yeah. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean it's not
Emotionally and
important?
spiritually, we're like so connected, and I love. Okay, so how about physically?
Forget about that. How's the sex?
Exactly. But
Uh,
anyways, very good, Janice. I love that
yeah.
mentality, that
Thank you.
mindset.
Thank you.
And I feel like that's something that I always told you too. Like,
Mm.
Janice, I feel like you're so 착해,
Mm.
and like you're always being the bridge and the I don't know, the glue for everyone,
Mm.
that you take on all the stress, and you don't even
Aw.
know that you're stressed
Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah.
because you're just, you're there for everybody all the time, and
Mhm.
you're happy doing it. But I think it's just that covert stress
Yeah.
that kind of creeps up on you, and
Yeah.
you don't realize it, but it's affecting you in some
Mhm.
ways.
Mhm.
So I'm glad that you're like being mindful about it, and addressing it in a way that, in the way that you should.
Thanks, Joss. So look out for the reels, everybody, and please like and follow.
When is it coming out, by the way?
I don't know. I just have to edit it. It's a lot of
All right,
footage.
I'm excited.
One interesting fact is we have two embryos, but in Korea, it's illegal for the hospital to tell you what gender the embryo is,
Interesting.
which is very interesting because in America, they tell you and you can basically choose which one you want to put into your
Yeah.
body. It's
Wow.
wild. Yeah.
Well, it's probably because they think. Actually, why is that?
According to Sarah's cousin Birani, she said it's because people will just throw it all away if they know it's a certain gender. Like if it's a gender that they don't want.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Um
Interesting. But you have two precious embryos waiting for you in
yeah.
Korea.
So we'll be in Korea possibly
Yeah.
for 2 months again. And
Might be
I'll
two
be back.
girls, might be two boys, one of each.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
know. Yeah.
So or we might even get pregnant before that because we're banging it up. So
Alrighty.
I'll keep you posted.
All right.
Someone said, what was the best Korean food Janice had in Korea? My fave in Korea is 간장게장 and hue.
Oh. Wow. Oh, that was her favorite, the one who
Yeah,
submitted.
yeah. Her name is Luxus Nguyen. Luxus Nguyen.
Luxus.
Yeah,
So
Luxus.
those were her favorite.
Yeah,
간장게장 and hue.
yeah,
Those are solid choices.
yeah. And she wrote it in Korean,
Yeah.
so if she's
Wow.
not Korean, but I actually put up a list and
I saw that.
I'll put it on my pinned thing. But one thing I remember actually just we ate so much good food. Like every time I go to Korea, I feel like there's always something new. But then one time we went on a road trip with Danielle actually, and we stopped by this. We found this restaurant that we want to go to, but ended up being closed. We're like, oh, where do we go? And there was
Yeah.
another restaurant right next to it. It was like a little village, and then. The restaurant next door, there were a lot of people there, so we're like, oh, let's just go in there. I don't know what they sell, but let's just go. And then it turns out they're like 순대국밥 and 팥죽, but it's 팥칼국수.
Oh.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know Korean, it's like red bean kalguksu noodle.
What is that called? Something cut noodles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
hand cut noodles. I don't know,
Hand cut noodles. Yeah.
but I've never had anything like that. But apparently, it's a very traditional dish in that area in
That sounds right up your alley,
ramen,
Janice.
because I love beans.
Beanie stuff.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
the red beans. I love any kind of bean.
Mm-hmm.
Which reminds me, there was one time where we were working at the same company.
Didn't you already to say this story before?
We probably did. I'm
Yeah, we
losing
probably
track of
did.
yeah. Anyways, I love beans and Jess doesn't. So that's one of the things I really enjoyed. Pat kalguksu.
I mean, that doesn't sound like, as someone who doesn't like beans,
Yeah.
that doesn't sound bad to me for some reason.
I actually think you would have liked it, Jess.
Yeah, it actually sounds kind of intriguing to me. Like, I would want to try it.
Yeah. Very warm and just warming and just delicious, not
Yeah.
too sweet, and it was wonderful.
I want to say a recommendation too, because
Yeah.
my parents actually live in Donghae.
Yep.
That's towards like the Gangneung East Sea.
So beautiful.
And a lot of Koreans go there. It's like a vacation site. You could think of it as like, I don't know, what would you say? Like San Diego?
Yeah.
Something like that, like Santa Barbara, like somewhere people go to like on a vacation for like a day trip, or, you know, when it's like summer vacation to go to the beach. But my parents live there and they love it because it's just so nice and fresh air, and you know, it's like a vacation spot. So like when it's not like, what is that called, like 비성수기, when it's not
in
vacation
season
time. Yeah, when it's off season, like everything is like empty.
Yeah.
But like there's so many places to go and it's so nice. Crab.
Oh
Crab. And I guess hue too, but like the seafood there, especially crab,
Snow
top
crab.
tier.
Is this
Yes,
snow crab? It's like freaking delicious.
King crab? I don't know.
Yeah.
Snow crab. But Janice and Ellen, shout out Ellen, came to Donghae to visit me one time. And I think we talked about this before too. And my dad bought them crab and it was like the most delicious thing ever. It's
so
like,
much meat in the leg, crab legs.
So meaty,
Yeah.
so juicy. And they like, you don't have to do it yourself. They kind of like already crack it for you so that it's like easily just, you know,
Yeah, you just pop it in your mouth. Yeah.
But very good crab in Donghae.
Oh my
and
gosh.
their tubu ice cream too, tofu ice cream.
Wow. I don't think I had
They're
that
known,
one there.
Yeah, they're known for tofu ice cream.
I really long for the day we go to Korea the same time and I could go visit you again, Donghae, because Donghae is so beautiful. I had such a great time.
My mom kept telling me to tell you to come visit them and that she'll buy you something, but Janice was being like super shy and like weird about it.
I'm shy. 어머님, 저 동해 왔는데요. 나오세요.
That is true. That is, it's kind of, yeah.
저 왔어요.
Like, without me, it's a bit awkward. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah. So next time you're there, I will help you with the kids. We could go get some, you know, king crab.
That sounds fun.
Okay, someone says white chop from Asia, and I enjoy the podcast. Question to Jess: how do you keep the romance alive with kids now? On the wavelength of banging.
Yes, I guess kind of like along the lines of what Janice said, you have to be very cognizant of those like arenas, you know, like, is your sex life, are you physically connected? Are you spiritually connected? Are you emotionally connected? And by the way, I'm saying all of this like not because I'm like an expert and like we have the best marriage or anything. It's just like something that I always have to be mindful of and like watch myself in.
Yeah.
And I think the more, like, the less time you have to be more intentional about making time for your husband. Because I feel like before kids, and I guess like even like before marriage, like when you're just dating, like it's so easy because like you have all the time in the world and like, you know, that's all you ever think about. Like, oh, what should we do? Like, should we watch a movie? Should we go out? But like literally with kids, it's like a war up until you put them down to bed, right? And then we have to like really intentionally like sit down and talk about like, you know, some things that didn't go right, or like some things we enjoyed throughout the day, or like the next time we can have a date night, you know? So I would say like it's like very ironic because it's not natural. Like it's not a naturally romantic thing.
Right.
It's like you have to put in the effort and be intentional about keeping things romantic.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Or else
and loving each other.
Yeah. Or else it's just like everything moves so quickly that you don't even realize how you're feeling. It starts to
Yeah.
pile up.
Oh yeah, and there are nights where like Josh and I are so like we're pooped by the
Mm,
end of our days,
mm-hmm.
and all we want to do is just do our own thing. I'm
Yeah.
literally in bed doom scrolling or
Mm.
like,
Just
just like
unwinding.
unwinding, exhausted in
Mm.
bed, and he's like, doing the toxic game of League of Legends because that's how he unleashes it. And
Yeah.
like some nights that's all we do. Like we
Mm-hmm.
literally are in like our separate spaces and
Mm-hmm.
then we just fall asleep. Um but if we were to do that every day, how sad is that?
Yeah, yeah.
So we really have to be like intentional
Mm-hmm.
about connecting with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually reminds me of kind of like what David and I do too. Even though we don't have kids,
Mm.
I think like it's easy for us to like forget to be intentional too. So
Mm.
actually, we started a tradition. I talked to this about talked to Jess about this before, but we call it our calm qualm
Aha.
Sundays.
I love it.
And it's basically, I don't know even how we came up with that name, but it's like if you
It's so
have any
cute.
qualms, save it, like write it down, even if it's like the smallest thing, like
Mm.
even if it's one thing that like bothered you about something, write it down. And then we'll have a dedicated time on Sunday where we're both feeling, at ease, not
Mm.
annoyed. We're, level headed, and
Yeah.
we're there to listen, you know, listen, and we don't judge. So it actually helped a lot because I think like earlier in our marriage, like David
Mm.
would say, I'm always here to hear you out, Janice. Like you have to voice your opinions to me or else I'll never know. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, fine. And I like muster up the courage and I'll walk up to him like, hey, David, you like really annoyed or you were being really mean to me the other day. And I'm like, I'm doing this while he's like about to have a really important call or something, or like, working on like a deadline or something like that,
Bad timing.
bad timing. And then he would
Yeah.
snap at me and then I would just go
Mm-mm.
crawling back into my hole and I'm like, see, like, I'm
Yeah.
never, and like, I get scared to talk about my feelings again.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like that vicious cycle where he was
Mm.
saying like, to express my thoughts, but I wasn't feeling safe. And so David's the one who said like, hey, I realized that I wasn't creating the safe space for you, so let's make a dedicated
Mm.
time. And I felt
Calm
so
qualm.
loved in that moment because
Mm.
like he knows my weaknesses and he knows his
Yeah.
weaknesses, and so he was like, we'll do this. And it really helped our communication, our line of communication, so much
Mm.
better.
Yeah. And you guys have
Improved
been
it.
doing it like on the weekly.
Yeah, weekly. Calm qualm Sundays.
I
We
love
did it
it.
recently too, yesterday.
Yeah.
I did not have any
Oh.
qualms. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So
See, even that too, I feel like you have to be intentional about it,
mhm.
right? Because you might have had qualms, but
Right.
if you don't remember or like, and you just kind of, I don't know, hold it in and you're
Yeah.
like, okay, whatever, let it go, and you just forget it, like
Yeah.
somehow like piles up like emotionally,
Yeah.
like I can't remember why you pissed me off, but
Mhm.
like I'm just like mad,
Yeah, for sure.
um so I like that, like you're just being intentional about communicating your
Yeah.
qualms.
And after we feel so good and we're so happy, I'm like, oh my gosh, like we
Mm.
never fight. And we're like walking. I'm like, I wonder what like other couples fight about. But I can imagine like throwing kids there. You're so tired. You're sleep deprived. You don't want to talk. You're cranky. You're hungry. I mean, I get so hangry.
Yeah.
And like in the good moments, like you're like, why do we even fight? It's so good that we
Yeah.
just talk about it.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
then in the bad moments, it's so easy to just snap and
It's
like,
just like an instant, like
yeah.
just, and it's like so many factors,
Mm-hmm.
um it's very interesting. Like when we're at home and like Hui is happy and we're all happy, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, dang, like there's no reason to like
Yeah.
fight or ever argue.
Yeah.
But it's like when other factors like roll in, we
Mm-hmm.
go outside and like he starts getting cranky and like
Right.
we're hangry and
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
Even today we went to, eat,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, it was after school, so he was like so like overstimulated. And I told you this, Janice, but after school I feel like a lot of kids, like they come home with like a lot of pent up emotions,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
whether that be like excited feelings or like embarrassed feelings, sad feelings, all of that, like it's
Yeah.
all pent up in them and they just unleash it to the
Yeah.
most comfortable person,
Mm.
which is us,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like he is always cranky after school.
Mm-hmm.
And like we had the smart idea of going out for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So we went and he was just like freaking hangry. I'm hangry. And then we got him like a fireman like like axe and like flashlight, and we let him take it in the car, but we're like, okay, you can't take this axe to the restaurant because it legit looks
Oh,
like a weapon.
shoot.
So we told him to put it in the car, but he like had a tantrum, like meltdown, and he was like thrashing like in Josh's arms, and he started hitting like the axe like on Josh, and Josh was like, yeah, and then he like, you know, threw the axe in the car. And for me, I was like, I saw that and I was like trying to help Josh like take Hui away.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want Hui to hurt him and like make him more mad. You know, I just wanted Josh to cool down so I could like take Hui. But to Josh, like he misunderstood it as like, you're like, you're not trusting me like in this moment of like handling Hui. You know, like you're just like taking his side, you're babying him. And you think I'm being too harsh and strict with him, so like you just take him away, you know. But like in that moment, like he can't say all of that, and he's just like, why do you do that? And he just like walked away. This was like literally today.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what? And I felt so awkward because in my mind I'm like,
trying to help,
you know. But then because he reacted right, I got all pissed and I was like, dude, what? And I was like, oh my gosh. And it's so funny because we ate with our friends Joyce Jung, David Jung. They probably like kind of sensed like our like
tension
in the beginning, but you know, eventually we ate and we ate at Morangak, so we're so happy. We're like, it was so good. And then we came back and I was like, apologize for being mean to me. And then I explained why, like what I was like, you know, thinking when I took Hui away. And he's like, oh, I didn't know that. Like to me, it just felt like you're like kind of undermining me, you know,
a misunderstanding.
Yeah, so we really like in those moments, and if we don't communicate we would never know.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
so we got to like talk it out and we apologized to each other, but it was after we put Hui down, you know.
After you put Hui down, after you had some food in your stomach, in a good place.
Yeah, in a good place. Yeah. We were like during like when we came home, while we were like doing all the things we have to do for Hui, like washing his hands, like changing and giving him milk and stuff, we were just like looking at each other like but also kind of like in a jokey way, like because we're already kind of like, you know, fizzled down by that point.
Yeah.
But we were still like, we gotta talk about it.
I'll talk to you later. I love this.
Pissed about.
I love how we're, you know, kind of ending it on our just life and marriage and kids. I'm feeling a certain type of way.
We love our husbands.
Yeah,
Of course, they have their own flaws.
Yeah.
We have our flaws.
Of course.
But they make us better. David makes you better. Josh makes me better. And of course, we make them
we definitely make them better.
Obviously.
We are the biggest blessings in their lives.
Like, for real though.
Just kidding. Yeah, for real though. So Gangchu is get married, everybody.
Yeah, you know what?
To the love of your life.
In this day and age. Hey, speaking of Pastor Tom, he put like a post. Did you see that, Janice?
Which one?
Where like he put like a quote by this author. And he said like, it's really sad how these days people think that like having a family, having kids is like lesser than like traveling and like, you know what I mean? Like going further in your career. Like they think of it as like settling down, you know. Like it's really sad because you're missing out on like the greatest joys in life, like getting married and like building a family. So
I didn't see that.
This day and age, especially in Korea, if you live in Korea too, it's tough, but it is worth it, I think, if you find the right person.
Yes.
And, you know.
Speaking of Pastor Tom, maybe in this season we can bring on our pastors onto the podcast. Little shy.
What would we talk about?
We'd talk about the most controversial things.
I did like their what is it? Their debate. The questions on like weed and stuff.
Yeah.
And, like how they were.
Our pastors have their own podcast, so check them out.
Yeah, off
the pulpit.
Yeah.
Wow, Jess. Effortless hour just passed by.
I love it.
How is it to be back?
We're pros now. Just kidding, guys. Sorry. We don't mean to be.
Are you nervous? Because I'm not. We're so natural.
No, really though. Like this is like, I mean it in a way where like we were so nervous and like sometimes like so unnatural in our conversations and like I don't know, like we started off just as like little chicks.
No, but I feel like
excited.
we're definitely getting more and more comfortable, and it's slowly becoming like our day-to-day conversation. Obviously, it's never going to be 100% because we know there's that red
Yes.
button,
Yeah.
but look at
Exactly.
us.
We're just like we're talking,
Mhm.
and like that's what we wanted Honey Jam to be because we always thought our conversations were funny and interesting, and like
Yeah.
we just wanted people to listen in and like be encouraged or like have a good laugh.
Yeah.
And I'm proud that we've come to this point where I feel comfortable
Yep.
and just an hour flew by of
Yeah.
us chatting
That's
chatting
right.
it up.
So
Yeah.
please remember to follow us on Instagram because we have that 20K. Did I say 10K or 20K goal of reaching followers on Instagram?
Just make it 20K.
20K. 20K. You're right, because we're at
Actually, I
8K
think
right now.
yeah. I feel like 10K is like very doable, right?
It's coming soon.
It's
So
coming, but 20K is definitely
yeah.
a goal.
And
Yeah.
then follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so that we can get bigger than Asian Girl Podcast. Asian Boss Girl Podcast. And then we'll see you guys next time.
Bye everyone.